Okay, another term that you will hear pretty frequently is a chord inversion, and those are also referred to as slash chords. And the reason they are called slash chords is because we are putting a different note of the chord as the lowest note. So let me tell you what I mean. A C chord, any C chord, is made up of C, E, G. Those three notes make up a C chord. We'll get into the theory stuff later, but just know that a C chord is made up of these three notes. If you play it with C as the lowest note, like this, just a regular C chord, this is the C note. That means it's in root position. If it's in root position, it hasn't been inverted. If we take the E and we play that as the lowest note instead of the C, but we're still playing C, E, G, this is the example that we actually played on the other video where it's a C chord with the E in the bass. This is an E note. So now when I strum, I'm going to strum that as my lowest note. So C/E. C in root position, hitting 5 strings. C/E, I'm hitting this as my lowest note. That's the E note. Now if we take the fifth of the chord, the other note of the chord, the G, if we make that the lowest note, that is second inversion. So C/E is first inversion. A C/G is a C chord in second inversion. And this is where the G is the lowest note that's being played. So if we take this C chord and we find G as the lowest note, now we get, so it sounds fuller. And what this does is it causes a different tension when you start taking chords out of root position. Like if you take this A chord, first, that's with the third in the bass. That's with the fifth in the bass. So A/C sharp, first inversion, A/E, second inversion. Now you don't have to know those notes right now, or those chords, but just know that when you take a chord out of root position, regardless of what chord it is, and the root is no longer the lowest note, you're inverting the chord. So you have first inversion, second inversion, and there's a different labeling for seventh chords and that. But so this is a slash chord because of that dash right there. C/E, C chord in first inversion. A C/G, C chord, second inversion. The G is the lowest note. Now what can happen, and what does happen, is other instruments can play those lower notes, like a piano player or a bass player. So if you're strumming away on guitar, those other instruments may move around. It's pretty common for them to start playing different melodic lines or different notes of the chord, and so they may be the ones inverting the chord. Even though you may be playing a C chord, the bass player may move to put the E in the bass. So just know for now that when you take a chord out of root position and you start playing with the lowest note, you're inverting the chord. And the beauty, the important thing about having an understanding of music theory is if you know that these three notes constitute a C chord, all you have to do is find those notes on the guitar neck and you're playing a C chord. What I mean is, if you learn basic music theory and you learn the fretboard, all you have to do is find those three notes and you're playing a C chord. And I wish I would have known this early on because I was just trying to memorize, like I had this big thick book of chords and I was trying to memorize tons of chords. Like it was like reading an encyclopedia. And I would, ultimately I would forget a bunch of them, and then I would get frustrated because I didn't know. I mean, I just thought that's what you did, is you just had to learn a bunch of chords. So I wanted to get better, so I just tried to memorize a bunch of chords. If you couple basic theory with it, and all you do is find C, E, G, for example, this is a C chord. Because this note is C, that's E, the third string open is G, the first fret is C, the first string open is E. I can play C like this. C, G, C, E, G. I can play C in this inversion. Not the A on top, sorry. E, G, C, E. I can play C like this, like this, like this, like this. All of those are C chords because they have those three notes in it. And then I played a couple inversions as well. So that shows you how powerful it is if you just have a little bit of understanding of music theory and you know the fretboard. You will be able to find these notes and these chords and the inversions, and it will save you a ton of time and frustration, unlike what I did, which was just try to relentlessly memorize a bunch of chords without understanding why they were what they were, or how they functioned within a chord progression, or even what an inversion was doing to the harmony or the way that a piece of music moved. So that's it. Chord inversions, also called slash chords, root position, first inversion, second inversion. What's going on is the lower note is changing. Okay?